Closer to the start date.
Okay.
Somebody else.
Let's hear it again for this trip. There's a very famous story in rock and roll history that Jimi Hendrix, before he went out on his own, he was a side guitarist for people like the Isley Brothers and Little Richard, working these clubs in the South, and he decided to go on his own, obviously to make more money, but didn't really know how to do it. He really wasn't comfortable with his singing. And then he heard Bob Dylan singing Like a Rolling Stone, and he basically said, if that guy thinks he can sing, well then so can I. So think about that. Here's this incredibly talented, super cool, urbane, charismatic guy taking cues from some hick from Minnesota. For the past 3.5 years, Tim Dresden has played Bob Dylan to my Jimi Hendrix. As I said, it was probably about sometime in September 2005. I was looking for, as I said, I was looking for Vegas podcasts in iTunes, and I think I made it through about 30 seconds of the Vegas.com show. And then I saw also on the search this one that popped out at me, and I got the Swingers reference immediately because it's a classic movie, and it was exactly what I was looking for in a podcast. People just talking about their passions with humor and insight and no editorial filter to smooth things out. So if not for Hundy, then I wouldn't have started my own podcast. And Tim also gave me a lot of feedback when I was creating it, and my shows couldn't have been as good without his advice and support. I also want to point out Brian Ibbett, who's working my video camera there, because who does Coverville.com, Coverville, the great show, and many other shows. Just listening to him has also been a big influence on mine. And again, talking about the evolution of the shows, I think the first show I heard was maybe the second or third one with Michelle as the co-host, where she'd before just done a few guest shots. And everybody who listens to the show knows exactly how much she brings every week. And fellow 500 by Monday, fellow 500 by Midnight listeners, I can say that I have been to the mountaintop. I have seen Michelle eat bacon. Yes, and but even more important than entertaining them and entertaining me and all of you every week, you know, for what began with a simple email with suggestions for what to do in Atlantic City has developed into, in all honesty, one of the most important friendships that I have. Without going into too much detail, I had a really crazy year last year, and they were just there for me in ways that. At times when you really need friends, they were there for me, and there's really no way that mere words can repay them. So I wanted to do something special, knowing that I was going to be here and seeing them to thank them. And I came up with something, but I lacked the technical expertise to do it. So I contacted Chuck of Vegas Tripping, and he was able to make that happen. And so I'd like to call up my dear friends Tim and Michelle from 500 by Midnight, the original Las Vegas podcast.
Good props. Carry her up.
Wow. It's an Ed Hardy-esque pilot.
This is beautiful. Thank you.